Morning. This is Friday, December 13th. This is the map discussion version. And right now we just have a upper level system with a surface frontal feature across the midsection of the United States, mainly bringing in clouds right now. But this is that high pressure that is highly modified. Yeah, it's cold outside, but it's not cold for December standards across the Carolinas. The system out west is bringing rain and very heavy rain into Northern California and southern parts of Oregon. Meanwhile, we have another slightly colder high pressure center centered over the western Great Lakes, northern Minnesota, back towards the Chicagoland area. So how are these features going to evolve over the next few days? Let's go into it. An ensemble forecasting system. This is a 18-hour forecast for this afternoon or this evening. You can see the upper level system. So we're looking at the mid levels here, and what happens at the upper levels dictates what happens at the lower levels. So here we have a little swirly. We'll see what that looks like on water vapor shortly. But here's our little swirly. As we go through time, the colors are the spread. So this tells us how differing the different solutions are with the mean solution. So the yellows and blues indicate more spread than the greens. So there's more of a less confidence in those areas. And when you have these areas with the higher spread, like towards the north, or what we call poleward or equatorward of a trough, this indicates there's some differences in either location or strength, especially around troughs. So as we go through the time here, we're going through the weekend into Monday morning. We have a deepening trough across the upper plains into the central plains. And this is going to traverse through the Great Lakes, and behind it, another trough. And the colors are increasing. This is normal because as you get further and further out in time, the models handle things a little differently. So this is normal spread within the models. Then you have the 20th here. This is Thursday evening, the 19th into the 20th, Friday. We have a pretty decent sized trough for this far out in time. So either models are hinting at there's something that's going to occur along the eastern part of the United States with a mean ridge out west, but this is fairly progressive for the wavelength here. Then as we go further into that weekend right before Christmas, you can see that either a mean trough sets up, which means that there are going to be multiple troughs, multiple storms, and these higher, they got purple here, so now you got a lot of spread, which you're about 10 days out. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of spread around these troughs because of the different details. Some members have different short waves rounding the base of the trough, others don't. And so that's where some of the spread is coming in at. But this, I wanted to show you this in the ensembles because this is an interesting feature here that we'll get to right now. Back to tropical tidbits for a little bit. This is the Euro model. This is instantaneous precipitation and color code based on model precipitation type. So as we go through, this starts out now. So here's our you remember that upper level system that's traversing the central parts of the United States. It induces a cyclone genesis. That's your $1 million word today. Across the midsections of the United States, with, of course, rain to the south and a little bit of snow to the north towards Minneapolis. And meanwhile, this very, very strong high pressure center is nosing its way in. As this system approaches from the west, I would expect some pretty windy conditions to set up across the mountains. And then it'll rain and perhaps snow, but that's mainly confined to the upper parts of West Virginia, the Maryland, and southern parts of Pennsylvania. Just plain old rain for the Western Carolinas for this one. As we get through next week, so this is Tuesday, December 17th at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, an approaching front loses its steam and it kind of fizzles out a little bit. But if you remember that huge trough, so you see these blue lines, this is indicative of very cold air, and the warm red lines is warm air. So warm air to the south, cold air to the north, they meet, they get in a fight, stuff happens. So as we push this through the time, this is getting into that December 19th and 20th. If you remember, a storm, an upper level trough, a very potent, in the ensembles anyways, upper level trough is entering the southeastern United States. Well, the Euro induces a very strong surface cyclone across Georgia and parts of Alabama, but this brings very heavy rain across the Carolinas and pretty much the majority of the southeastern United States, from central Florida all the way up through the southern parts of the Appalachian Mountains. And then as that storm system exits, so does the surface low, with very heavy snow across southeastern Canada and heavy rain across the locations in the northern parts of New England into the southern parts of New England, places like Boston and New York. But you see how strong the winds are based on how close together these black lines are. This is going to be a pretty hefty storm if this verifies. And also notice across parts of southeastern Canada that you have snow and windy conditions, so it might be a little treacherous traveling if you have travel plans in Canada. And then on the backside, as the cooler air filters in, it picks up moisture from the Great Lakes, and slams it up against the spine of the Appalachians, which that's our northwest flow machine. The lake effect snow machine and the northwest flow snow machine are interconnected a lot of the times, especially with, this is a very big storm. This is influencing the weather for the eastern half of the United States, from windy conditions across the central plains to snow across the Midwest, and windy conditions along the eastern seaboard with rain and snow in places. This is going to be a pretty big storm if this thing verifies. Looking at the GFS, now this is a deterministic model. If we take a look at the evolution, here's the rain to the south, snow to the north storm. This is getting into this weekend with that high pressure. A lot of the times when you're trying to make these forecasts, you're looking at different models at different run times. So this is last night's model run, which I think if you look at the 6Z GFS, it's kind of crazy. One thing that you have to be notice is model bias. The GFS at longer time ranges tends to have a cold bias. So be mindful of that, especially across the southeast United States. But I think the 0Z, or the 7 p.m. Eastern time run of the GFS last night, is pretty much on track with what the Euro model has, with, of course, some slight differences. Still, you got some heavy rain. So this is that Thursday, December 19th storm on the GFS. It looks a little similar, but less widespread heavy rain, but still heavy rain for portions of the Carolinas and generally parts of the Southeast, with snow in the interior parts of New England. And there's our northwest flow snow fall across the spine of the Appalachians a couple days later. With now the GFS is depicting some pretty good snowfall across the Virginia and Delaware, southern parts of New Jersey. But again, this is just one model run, and yeah, the GFS, the 1 a.m. run this morning, does not have this feature. So, run to run consistency as well as intermodal consistency is also needed. So, yeah, that's about the gist of it. The official forecast during that time period, this is Tuesday, December 17th. This is the 18th. And here's the 19th. So you can see that the 0Z GFS is the preferred model, at least right now with the experts at the National Weather Service. With rain in the southeastern United States and snow in the interior parts of New England. And then after that, maybe some snow in the mountains as the system departs just in time for the Christmas season. This is our water vapor loop. It looks at moisture and airflow across the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. Here is our storm system in the Intermountain West. This is going to slide over the mountains and into the Central Plains, where that surface cyclone will start to develop with some snow and ice on the northern parts, into Iowa and southern Minnesota, and rain to the south of that. And then after that, a front will approach the eastern seaboard and fizzle out, especially across the southeastern United States. And then after that, some of the models indicate another storm system trying to develop, but there's still some very, very low confidence in that particular solution. So we would have to watch the evolution of the models on that one and determine what kind of impacts as far as heavy rain and wind will affect the Carolinas and pretty much the southeastern United States. So that just about does it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.